Hey guys, it's 75 here, and welcome back to another video where today we are going to be looking into every way to get free KR as of mid-2020. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be going over every way to get KR in krunker. I'm going to go through the ways to get KR in order of what level you have to be to do them, so let's hop right into it. But before I tell you all the ways to get free KR, I'd like to mention that only 6% of you are subscribed. So if you like my videos, please subscribe, it really helps. Anyways, let's actually jump into the first method this time. The first way to get KR is by actually playing the game. For every 100 points that you get, you'll be rewarded with 1 KR. This might not sound like much, but that's basically an average of 1 KR per kill if you get headshots. This is a pretty slow way to get KR, but it's a guaranteed way of getting KR, so that's pretty nice. It's also pretty much passive, because you just gain KR as you play. Because getting KR with this method is directly tied to your score, this incentivizes you to get more points. To get the most points possible, make sure you play with the class that you do the best with. I would recommend Triggerman, Hunter, or Detective because those are the strongest classes right now. If you use Hunter, you'll get extra bonuses for quick scopes and no scopes. So if you're really good with Sniper, I would recommend that. But if you're going for a KR, I would not play with classes like Rocketeer or Crossbow because those almost always give you just a plain 50 or 100 point because you can't get headshots. All in all, just play with your best class. This next way builds on the previous method of getting KR, but it's much harder. This is challenge mode. Challenge mode is a setting, so you can find that in the settings tab if you search for challenge. When you turn this on, you have 50% less health, but you get 50% more KR. This makes playing the game much harder, so you'll have to try it out and decide for yourself. The second way to get free KR is absolutely free, and it gives you a random amount of KR every 6 hours. You can do this with the free KR button in the top left of the menu. When you click this button, it will play a short ad under 30 seconds, and after that finishes, you'll be given a free spin for KR. The amount of KR you get from each rarity is determined by your level, so the higher your level is, the more KR you get. The devs have been making lots of changes to this, but as of 2.5.7, you need to be level 5 to do this, so that's not too bad. I will update the description if they change this, so look down there for most recent info. Alright, these next few ways of getting free KR have to do with the market and trading, so you'll need to be level 20 for these. So for method 3, we have market flipping and sniping. You may have heard of these before, but I'll explain them to the best of my abilities because these are by far the best ways to get mass amounts of KR. Okay, so flipping is where you go into the krunker market and find listings that are relatively cheap compared to the other listings for the same item. That might sound a little complicated, but I'll explain it in more detail now. If you don't know how to get to the krunker market, you can go to the shop tab, and it's the first link at the top. You can also type krunker.io/social.html and click on the market item in the top right. Now that you're in the market, you can start looking for items that are listed pretty low. You can mess around with filtering for epics, legendaries, relics, or above to try and find cheap listings. Sometimes you'll need to search for specific guns or filter out the FAMAS and Rocketeer skins to find the good stuff, because nobody really wants to buy those guns. Once you find a cheap item, it will usually have the 5-minute timer on it, so that they don't accidentally list the wrong skin. Once you wait the rest of the time out on your listing, you want to click purchase as fast as possible, so you can beat other people to the item. Now just because you click right on the dot as soon as possible does not mean you'll get the item. Depending on how cheap the item is and how many people are going for it, you won't get it. The main factor in who gets it is ping. So if you have a high ping, you just won't get the item, and somebody else will. You can check your market ping at ye.how/marketping/, I'll put this in the description, and if you have really low ping, you'll be the most likely to get the item. Anyways, if you do manage to snipe an item, then you can relist it for a bit below the cheapest item. That way, you become the new cheapest. Anyone looking for that item is most likely to buy yours, and when they do, you've made your profit. One thing to keep in mind when determining if something is worth trying to snipe is market listing fees. When you list an item on the market, krunker takes a 5% KR fee, to prevent people from just listing stuff at ridiculously high prices. This means that sometimes an item may look cheap, but when you factor in the price of relisting at a higher price, you barely make any profit at all, or sometimes it will actually cost you. So just be wary of buying everything that is 1 KR below the next item. Okay, moving on to the next method of gaining KR, and that is trading. Now, trading doesn't directly give you KR, but if you're smart about it, you can trade your items for someone else's items which are better than yours. For example, you might be able to convince someone to trade you their contraband for 2 of your relics. Then you could sell that contraband for more money than if you had just sold the 2 relics, or you could just keep the contra, and that's how you'd make profit. Now, this next way of gaining KR is through investments into skins that you think will go up in price in the future. For instance, if you bought a skin in Season 2, now that all of the skins are locked from Season 2, some of the prices are going up. Let's say you bought an Aziru for 5,000, but now the price is around 7,000. So if you sell it now for 7,000, you'd make a 2,000 KR profit minus listing fees. That's not a bad profit, especially if you did this for a bunch of things. Some items, like the Easter items, were selling for pretty cheap around Easter, but now they've gone up a lot in price since they were locked. So they were valuable investments to buy back then. It is impossible to know if something will go up in the future, but you can make some predictions, so just do your best. The 6th way to get free KR requires you to be level 30. This method gives you more and more KR the more you complete them, so after a while, they get pretty good. This method is challenges. You've probably seen the icon on the menu for challenges, but these challenges actually give you a KR reward for each level you complete. It starts off with just a measly 100 KR at the first level, but each level you complete gives you more and more KR. Level 2 gives you 150 KR, and level 3 gives you 200 KR. Level 24, the last challenge as of 2.5.7, gives you over 3,000 KR. So altogether, you can earn close to 30,000 KR by completing these challenges. Now obviously, these are harder and harder each level, but if you are skilled at the game, they are doable. Now I'm not going to count this as its own method to get free KR, but it is worth mentioning in case you don't know it. If you go to the shop in Krunker, at the very bottom you'll see a section labeled Redeem Voucher. Now the developers used to make codes and give them out to people, or give them to YouTubers and streamers to give away. They haven't done this in a while, but in case they do, now you know where to put it. So now that you've got some KR in your account, what should you spend it on? Well, there are a few different things that you can buy with KR. If you head to the shop, you can see a bunch of different spins. If you buy these, you get a random skin for the set amount of KR. Doing this is almost never worth it in terms of profit, but it's really fun, and it's the only way to get new skins when they come out. The next thing you can spend your KR on is specific skins. Obviously, we talked about the market earlier, but you don't just have to buy skins for profit. You can also keep them to build out an epic loadout. This is pretty obvious, but I thought I'd mention it anyways. The final thing you can spend your KR on is Krunker Premium. I made a whole video on Krunker Premium. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a card in the top right and a link in the description. Anyways, Krunker Premium is pretty expensive, so I would only buy this if you really want it. Alright, those are all 6 ways to get free KR in Krunker right now. If this video helped you out, make sure to leave a like because it really helps me out. Send this video to your friends who need KR, and let me know down in the comments if I missed a method. If you guys want to see more videos like this, subscribe so you can see all my videos in the future. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!